Okay, so we are going to start by downloading the mousse and by downloading the stars pictures. And then you're going to go to File and open from your computer, and you're going to open the mousse first. Okay, so our final product is going to look like this. Okay, so this is where we start. This is our final product. So we got our magical mousse with the glowing antlers project. All right, so let's go back to our beginning, and we're here. We're going to zoom in just a little bit, a couple of Control plus, and we're going to go to our quick selection tool. It's going to take a second. Keep in mind you are at photopea.com in case you missed it. All right, you want to set your brush to about 35. Make sure you're on this mode. And we're going to come up to the top of this antler and click. Okay, it's going to grab most of it. Actually, let's try that again. Control Z. Yeah, I'm trying to do it where it doesn't grab this. Let's try that again. It's doing it each time. What if I try here? No, that's even worse. All right, so we'll just do it up there and we'll deal with it. All right. So you can see it's grabbed some of the background. It's grabbed this little line here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down the Alt key. And right now I'm on the plus. When I hold Alt, it's going to go to a minus. Let me see if I can get rid of that. Okay, got us close. All right. Looks like this is all good. There's a little spot here, but we can fix that later. Okay. I'm more concerned about the trees. So if I can get that to go away. Okay, that's pretty good. Remember, I'm holding down Alt to subtract these areas. Now, it's going to be frustrating. This will take you the longest part of this. It's getting rid of these parts. Hold down Alt, click in here, try and get rid of some of this. Okay, again, it's not perfect. That's going to be a problem, so just leave that and we'll fix that on the cleanup. But it looks like everything else is pretty good. Okay, you will not be able to do it that fast. It's going to take you longer. So just know that this part is frustrating and it could take some time. All right, next step is we're going to refine edge. So you click right up here at the top where it says refine edge. It's going to take us into a different window. It'll take a minute. Now you can see on the right what we're going to have. Okay, there's some problems here and we can zoom in and fix them. Let's grab the hand, and you got to make sure it actually engages. So it moves a little slow. Okay, so we got some issues. Okay, these edges are not great. They're not terrible. Okay, we wanted to fix this, so let's do that. Now, when you paint with white, white reveals. Ooh, and we're going to hit the left bracket next to the P on your keyboard and make this smaller. It's hard to see the cursor in Photopea. That's kind of its biggest drawback. Okay, grab the hand. Let's go see what else. That's a little messed up, but I don't want to fuss too much over it. We can always clean up the outside edge a little bit. Give it a second to trigger it. Okay, I'm going to take the black now, because I sort of messed up, and try and shave that a little bit so it's not quite so terrible. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. All right, that took a little bit of it off. Now the gray, if you go much smaller, will try and grab this edge and smooth it out for you. Watch on the right, and it finally engages, so that smooths it out a little bit. What this is supposed to do is intelligently figure out what you're trying to keep and what you're trying to get rid of. Ooh, that's pretty rugged down there. Photoshop does it much better. All right, let me grab the white again. I'm going to go a little bigger with my cursor. See if I can find it. There it is. And paint some of this back in. You don't want it to be that ragged. Okay. Don't worry about making it perfect. It's not necessary. We're going to fuzz this out so that you'll barely see it anyway. But you know, you don't want to lose the tip of the antlers and whatnot. All right, that looks pretty good. You grab the hand, move it down. We had some real issues down here, so this we definitely need to fix. Back to the white so I can reveal. And remember, you can always hit Control Z if you mess up, and it'll take a step back. All right, grab the hand. I know there were some issues down here. Oh, see, it didn't do it. You gotta make sure that you click on what you were wanting it to do. Sometimes it takes a minute to respond. So don't go too fast. Okay, there, put that back in. Let's fix this snout a little bit. Oops, let go. Don't worry about making it perfect. We're gonna have multiple layers, so it'll hide. Come on, cursor, where are you at? There. Oh, I need to be on the white. Okay. Let's put that back in. Okay, let me grab my hand again, because I know we got some funkiness down here. That's probably okay, but I'm going to put back in some of this. Just a little. Hopefully that won't be too weird. I know we had some issues down here. Oh yeah, that's rough. So grab my white brush. I'm going to paint this back in. Okay, now remember, when you let go on the mouse, it does the changes. So if you're trying to paint in a big area, you're going to want to not let go of the mouse until you're done with that area. Now the danger of that is if you mess up, you have to go back and do it all again. Or you have to use the black brush to get rid of the part that you messed up on. All right, that should fill that in pretty good. Boom, not bad. Was there anything down here that we couldn't? Oh, that's a little messed up. Let's add a little bit of that back in. Just kind of a weird edge there. Don't get too crazy about it. Now the important part we haven't even really looked at. Because remember, the glow from the antlers is going to reflect on the back of the mousse. And we're missing all of this hair here. So we're going to take the white first and try and put some of it back in. Don't get too close to the edge. But this is where the light's going to hit. So we want to put some of that back in. And boom, there it is. Use the hand, drag it over. See all this light hair? That's what's going to show the light. Let's put some of it back in. Don't go up to the edge because then it's going to look weird and you're going to pick up the background. Missed a little bit there. What we don't want is the background showing through. Okay, that's not great, but at least it's a little better. Grab just a little more of this. Almost there. I should just skip this on the video, but I kind of want you to see that it's not easy. Okay, it does take some time getting this going. You zoom out a little bit. Yeah, we probably want to get the rest of that. There's the rest. Just because there's a lot of light there that's going to reflect, and we don't want to miss that. All right, so we got sort of a hard edge. Then we'll come in with the gray, and the gray will give us a little bit of that fuzz on the edge. Okay, don't go too far into the background because then we'll get too much goofiness out there. Take the hand. it's not contrasty enough to really see it with this program. But, you know, a little bit of fuzz, it's going to look like, oh, that's a little funky. If it does that, come back in with the white and grab these areas. I mean, you don't want that hole there. Like I said before, Photopea is not as sophisticated as Photoshop. So you're going to have some things that don't look quite right. Let's see if that doesn't work. Yeah, I got a little spot there I was afraid of. All right. Almost there. One more curve. Oops, undo that. Too far down. Come on, there we go. All right, cursor, there you are. Okay, and we're going to run right along the edge here because we don't want to create a hole. See what it pops up. Yeah, it's not terrible. I mean, it doesn't look great, but it's doable. All right. Once that's done, I'll zoom out. Okay, we got one thing that we've got to fix. That looks pretty good. One little bit that has to be addressed is this little hole in the antlers. So I'm going to zoom in on that. We've got to get rid of this sky or it's going to look weird. So we'll go to our black and I'm going to shrink this down to like 15. So I use the brackets to go down a little bit. Where's my cursor now? There it is, my hand. Okay, and I'm going to paint this. Oops, that was a little messed up. With the black so that it will hide this area because we don't want that part of our selection. Okay, let's see what that looks like. We might need to smooth that out a little bit. Yeah. Now you can do this with the gray or you can do it with the white. If I were on Photoshop, I would definitely use the gray or use, you know, whatever. I'm trying to remember how they do their refine edge. There's a couple different ways to do it. Whereas this one really limits us. Again, doesn't have to be perfect, but you want it to look natural. So let's sharpen this corner a little bit. That's probably fine. It's going to be so small that we'll hardly notice it. See what I'm saying? All right. Make sure you have chosen selection and hit OK. Okay, it'll bring us back here. Control 0. You can see that the mousse is selected, the background is not. Okay, first step, we're going to duplicate layer. Okay, so we've got a new layer. It's exactly the same as the first one. Next thing we're going to do once it's done analyzing the image is we're going to come up to layer and we're going to go raster mask and we're going to make a mask that reveals the selection. So it reveals the mousse. Boom. Okay, if I turn off the background, there it is. The mask has hidden the stuff we didn't want. Okay. Make sure you're on that layer and let's duplicate that layer again. Okay, so now we've got another one. Okay, now here's where it gets interesting. Click on the mask for this second copy. We're going to go up to the tools once it's done analyzing. And we're going to grab the polygonal lasso tool. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it or if it's polygonal. And we are going to come in here right where the antlers meet the head. And we are going to lasso around the ear and then go straight out to the edge, down, across. We're going to get everything but those antlers. And remember, we're on the mask. Okay, next step is what we're doing is only going to affect the mask. Use the brush tool. Make sure black is on top. You make the brush huge because it's only going to paint inside the part we have selected, and we're just going to paint all of that out. Now you probably could fill it as well. Don't forget the ears. Now if you're on the mask, you'll see that it painted it out. All right. And then we're going to right click on the mask and we're going to apply. Boom. See what it copied? Just the antlers. So if I control D to get rid of that selection, you'll see we've got our mousse. We turn this one off. We've got just the antlers. And that's going to be super important that we have all three of those. All right. So we're going to click on the top layer. So we're on the antlers only. And we're going to hit Control G. It's going to put it in a folder. Okay. See, it's now in a folder. Okay, that's going to become important because we want to be able just to control those layers in the folder separately. All right, so we're going to click on the background and we're going to make an adjustment layer. We're going to choose Color Fill. All right, now here's where it's going to get kind of specific. Our color for the R, we're going to leave it at 0. The G, we're going to put it at 15. And the B, let's put it at 72. Okay, it's going to give us a dark blue. And then hit OK. All right, so we've got a dark blue background. Control 0 so I can see my progress. Now I'm going to change the opacity just a little bit down to like 82%. All right. We're going to do another adjustment layer. And we're going to choose black and white. Okay. So we want these to be 40, 60. Green will be at 40. Cyan at 60. Blue at 20. Magenta at 80. Okay. Click on that to get rid of it. And then we're going to turn that down a bit. Take it down to about 50. All right. Now we're going to go to the antlers. Okay, click on that, and we're going to convert it to a smart object. Okay, so we've converted our antlers. You can see that it's a smart object now. And then we're going to duplicate that layer. So notice there are 2 of them. We're going to change this layer to linear dodge. There it is right there. Boom, look at that. Beautiful. Now we are going to add a filter. So go up to filter at the top. I'm going to choose blur. We're going to use the Gaussian blur. We're going to change this to 5 pixels for the radius. Hit OK. Okay. See what we got. All right, very nice. Let's duplicate that layer. And we're going to click on Smart Filters and go into the Gaussian blur. And we're going to change this one to 100 pixels. Yeah, okay. Okay, now you can see it's starting to glow a little bit more. Right click on it duplicate layer. Okay, click on the Gaussian blur. We're going to do one at 250, so 250 pixels. Okay. Okay, so it gives us a little more glow. We're going to duplicate the layer one more time and click on the Gaussian blur. And we're going to do this one at 500. So it's creating a little fade effect. And you can see how it's building on that glow. It's a very cool technique. Okay, close the group or the folder. You can see just how much we did with just those couple of extra layers. All right. Click on folder 1, and we're going to create an adjustment layer. Oops, we want to turn it on though. Create an adjustment layer, and we are going to hit hue and saturation. All right. And we're going to right click on, let's see, where am I clicking? On the mask part. No. Where it says hue, and we are going to click clipping mask. Okay, so it's only affecting the clipping mask, this folder. All right, we are going to, is it in here? I'm trying to remember where this part is. I think it might be in here. No? Oh, it's right there. Colorize, this little button at the bottom. Ooh, pretty. Okay, so let's take the hue. We're going to make that 90. Couldn't find my colorize button. And we're going to change, I'm sorry, the saturation should be at 90. The hue should be 32. Very nice, very nice. All right, let's hit this little Pro Properties button to hide it. All right, so now we're going to go down to this layer with the mousse mask. And we're going to make an adjustment layer. We're going to choose curves. All right. So we're going to right click and we're going to make it a clipping mask. And we're going to grab up here by this corner. We're going to drag it down just a little bit there. Okay, so it kind of darkened everything. If we look at what it did, kind of darkened the background a little bit. Okay, let's click on the mask. And we're going to, hold on. So we're on the curves layer. I feel like I missed a step, but maybe not. Okay, I'm going to grab my brush. We're going to make it around 200. And we're going to turn the hardness down to 0. Okay, and I'm going to paint along the edge here. Oh, it did work. Okay, so make sure that you are on the black, by the way. Okay, I'm going to paint along the edge. Get the ears all good. Let's get the top edge of his head. I might make my brush a little bigger again and get a little more. Now, if you make the brush bigger, it spreads out the diffusion a little bit. All right. Okay, I'm going to right click on the hue and saturation layer, and I'm going to duplicate. And I'm going to turn off, right click on it and turn off the clipping mask. Okay, I'm going to drag this just above the mousse mask. And then I'm going to, let's see. Okay, so I double clicked on that layer. And I go up, let's see. Go up to layers, and I'm going to invert. Is invert in here? Okay, this is where I got a little hazy. Maybe it's in here. It's not in here. Okay, that's right. Okay, so I'm on my little mask on my hue layer. Double click on that. This pops up. I click on mask and I invert. Okay, so that gets rid of the yellow. Okay, so what you were looking at was this. We invert it so that it looks like that. Then what we do is we go down here, make sure our foreground is white. Grab our brush. We're going to take it up to about 600. Okay, close enough. We're going to make the opacity at 40. 41, close enough. We're going to take the flow down to 30. Okay, leave the smooth alone. Make sure you're on that layer. Take your brush and start brushing in some glow. Okay, you'll have to go over it a few times to really get it to read. And we want it on the head. There we go. And you want it to kind of fade down. So, very nice. Okay. Yeah, that looks good. I like it. Nice glow to it. Now we've got to put in some magic. So we're going to File and Open and Place. Now you can drag it in if you want, but we got to find our stars. Where are you, stars? There they are, Milky Way. Okay, cool. We're going to kind of drag this up, and we want it to be around the antlers. In fact, let's make it fill the whole page. That way it makes the stars a little bit bigger. So we're going to stretch it and make it fill. Very nice. Okay, let's move that up. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to go up to this mode and we're going to change it to screen. Very cool. Okay. We're going to go down here to the bottom and click on Add a Raster Mask. Click on Mask. And we're going to go Control-I to invert it. Okay, so that made it black, so that means it's hiding everything. Okay, now we're going to go back to our brush tool. Make sure white is on top. And we're going to change the size of here. Let's take this down a bit. Maybe not quite that far, maybe 3 something. Make sure our hardness is down low. And let's see if we can paint in some starlight. Oops. Okay, don't go too crazy with it. It's pretty cool techniques in this lesson, I gotta say. Okay, put some stars in under here. Gives it some magic pixie dust vibe. Maybe a little bit more there. You don't want to go too crazy with your stars. But again, remember your opacity is down low, so you're going to go over it a few times to really kind of get it to pop. And there you go. You have your magical mousse. And I love how the light is reflecting on the top and it sort of hides it on the bottom. Okay, you are going to save it as a PSD. Give it a second to catch up. And you are going to export as a JPEG. And you will turn in both. And here's our JPEG. See if we can get it to open. Very nice. Very nice stuff. And that's it. That's our cool technique for today.